Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Horror Huddle. I am Stacy Beth, and we have Adam here.
Hello, everybody.
Not as usual. Ash is taking the week off, so we're gonna have to make do with what we have and figure out how we're gonna do this. I'm nervous because we don't have him here, and he's like my right-hand man, so I don't know what we're gonna do.
I'll try my best.
I think we'll be okay. So, this is a big episode. We are going to be talking about 2017's Get Out. Super awesome. If you haven't seen it, stop watching this because there's going to be like super major spoilers in this. Yeah, tons of spoilers. And I mean, you guys usually already know if y'all are watching it, you already know we are super spoilerific on this series. So, yeah, we're just going to get right into it. So, this is a Blumhouse production. And, you know, sometimes they can be a little hit or miss.
Yes,
but the majority
definitely.
of the time, they've had some good stuff. Directed by, I'm sure you all know, Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. They've done that. And then what, Keanu?
Keanu. They didn't direct, but I think they just...
They didn't direct it?
No, it was the guy that directed a bunch of the Key and Peele stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, but yeah, you all know them from that too. It's super different tonally.
Yes.
Wildly different. It is a horror movie.
Definitely.
Fuck what anybody says. I know there's a lot of people doing that whole, oh, it's suspense, it's thriller, it's this.
Yeah.
It's a fucking horror movie. It's horrific. It's all about racial shit. So it's pretty fucking horrifying. Came out, the 24th?
Yeah, Thursday or Friday.
Friday? Whatever Friday was. I think it, released on Friday. I think they had the limited theater release on Thursday night.
I saw some people online that were watching it Thursday. Yeah. So,
we went and watched it Friday afternoon, because I was like, there's no way in hell I'm waiting till the end of the weekend. Like, we have to go see it ASAP. Usually I'm one of those with big movies like that. Like, you know, I like to wait like a week or so.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I don't want to get any spoilers. And I mean, even now I'm still not getting anything crazy. But anyways, so the basic plot is this guy, Chris Washington, his girlfriend, Rose Armitage, I think it's the name.
Yeah.
Interracial relationship, black guy, white girl, goes to meet her family in this kind of like, you find out it's this uppity white family with money and stuff. And I guess he finds out that she has never told her parents that he's black.
Yes.
And she's like, no, they're going to be cool. My dad loves Obama. And you're already like, oh, fuck. Like, we all know those people, right? They're like, no, I'm cool, man. I have a black friend. So he goes to meet them. And you soon realize that there are a couple of other African Americans there, but they are all working for the family. And they're not quite, like... They're normal.
They act very hired helpish.
Yeah.
Like what you see in old like blaxploitation movies, or not even blaxploitation, but like straight up like Gone with the Wind style.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then you find out that the white folk might be up to some shit that is fairly sinister. And that's kind of all that I can give you. And that's pretty much what it gives you in the trailer anyhow. You just don't really know what it is. But of course, again, we're going to be spoiling this, so you will find out eventually what happens. But this movie has gotten insane. Like, it's what... I think before it even had its wide release, it was already at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not... I don't know, I guess it's not really normal, but I guess it's kind of expected before a wide release, because then you're expecting after it's released to have those critics
bring it down. And I think after 140, I saw 140 reviews now on Rotten Tomatoes, it's still 99%. So
I thought it was 100.
No, it came down 1%.
Who's that fucker?
Yeah,
who's that fucker who brought it down?
Somebody gave it a bad.
Damn, that's it's probably some angry white person.
I saw somebody on IMDb, because it had an 8.6 on IMDb, and I was like, what the heck? And then I realized somebody who gave it a stunning review didn't rate it, so it rated it as a 1.
Okay.
So it's got one, even though it's not a 1. I was like, oh, come on, dude. Know how to rate your movies.
Yeah. Well, as of, I think, Sunday, box office was $30.5 million. And it was off a budget of, what, $4.5 million?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, which is, like, impressive. And if I'm not mistaken, I've been reading that it was it's still on Rotten Tomatoes as far as, like, being a horror movie. It's one of the highest rated ones.
Horror movies.
After that many critic reviews to have 100% or whatever, now. Because I looked it up, and it still said 100, but, I mean, I'm sure I believe you.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up. I don't know. But, so yeah, now we'll go into what we thought about the movie. So, we've got the main characters, of course, that we said, Chris and Rose. And Chris was played by, I gotta look at this, Daniel Kaluuya, who, when I looked him up, I hadn't recognized him anything, but apparently he was, like, in Sicario and, like, Kick-Ass 2.
He was?
Black Death. He's Black Death.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I don't remember Kick-Ass 2. I don't
about
remember
that.
it at all. And Allison Williams played Rose, who, I guess you said she was in Girls?
In Girls.
And so this is, like, her first
movie.
feature film movie, that she's done, which she fucking did amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I thought she was fantastic as, like, that nice little white girl turned, like, cuckoo bird. Yeah, because she turns cuckoo. And then so you had Catherine Keener, who played Rose's mom, Missy, and she was kind of like the integral part of this movie.
Yes.
Next to Chris, because she was a hypnotist / like therapist, and you find out, of course, that she is hypnotizing these black people and sending them into this place that she calls the sunken place in order to make them not like zombies, but like not them anymore.
Yes.
I guess. And then it goes off into this whole other medical aspect of it and stuff. But yeah, so Catherine Keener was, I don't know if any of y'all remember, but I only remember her from, she played the love interest of Steve Carell in 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did not look very good now, but that's fine. And Bradley Whitford played the dad. His name was Dean, I think. And he was
one of the main scientists in Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, the one who got eaten by the merman. Spoiler alert. Got eaten by the merman, which was crazy because I did not recognize him. Like, I recognized his voice, but I didn't realize that it was him.
He's all white-haired now.
A couple of other main characters we had in there was, who was it? Character Jeremy, Georgina. Right, I guess those were... Who the hell was Jeremy? I don't even remember who Jeremy... Oh, the brother.
Jeremy was the brother. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Georgina was played by Betty Gabriel, and she did amazing. She was the, like, maid?
The cook, maid, sort of.
Whatever. And then this other guy, this crazy white dude, played by Stephen Root, his name was Jim Hudson in the movie. What else was he in? Because he was always creepy as fuck.
Yeah. I don't know what else he was in. I didn't look. I just remember he looked familiar.
He was in some other shit. I feel like I have to look it up, but I can't right now. And then, of course, our favorite, Rod.
Yeah. Rod
was Chris's best friend, and he was a TSA agent. And his name, I think he was played by LilRey Howery. That was his name. But yeah, so I think he's everybody's favorite character because he was kind of the comedic relief, but it wasn't like the token, like, comedic sidekick friend. Like,
he's not just the guy that was just saying, oh, damn.
He had a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No character was wasted in this entire movie. Like, everybody had a point.
And that's what I was telling Adam when I was writing my notes down and stuff, and I was trying to write because, like, when I write my notes down, I like to write the main cast list and stuff, and I'm like, fuck, I'm writing everybody down because everybody, other than some of the partygoers, had, like, a purpose in the movie.
But even the partygoers had a purpose because when it was all said and done, you went back and you saw whatever they were talking about, why they were talking about those reasons.
That's
like,
true. Yeah,
literally everybody had a purpose. Like nobody was wasted. Nobody was background filler.
Which I think is amazing. I was like, that's cool. That's a well written movie. When you can make everybody have a point, and there was a reasoning behind them being in the movie, other than just filler or background or just having a line or two. And even the people who did have a line or two they had a reason to be there, and their line or two played back later on in the movie.
And every scene, every shot had a point.
Yeah.
There was no okay, we got to fill time or anything like you can refer back to scenes in the beginning of the movie and realize why they were there.
Yeah.
And why they enhanced the story and enhanced the ending.
Yeah. This is a movie that will benefit from like multiple viewings. Like I feel like I need to watch it. I want to watch it like 200 more times, but I feel like if I watch it at least 2 or 3 more times, that
you'll pick up on everything.
Yeah, you'll start to pick up and you'll be like, oh shit, like I did not get this. I didn't see this. Like how cool is that?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, this movie has gotten like insane like press about it, and the horror community absolutely adores it. I've yet to see, and I'm sure there are people that don't like it, but I've yet to see anybody in the horror community say that they don't like it.
Yeah.
And of course, there's, you know, you don't want to consider it a horror comedy because it's not. Now then you get into the debate of, is it a thriller or is it that, you know, which, and you know me, I say, well, I think a thriller can be a horror movie. Like, I mean, just because it doesn't have ghosts and demons and blood and guts, which it did have some blood and stuff, doesn't mean that it's not a horror movie. I mean, that situation that these people find themselves in is pretty fucking horrifying.
Yes.
So I don't know.
It bothered me. The only thing that bothered me about reviews is that sometimes I feel like not everybody has seen the entire movie, because a couple reviews even still calls it a horror comedy, and it's like maybe just because they can't bust Jordan Peele out of a comedic person. Mm-hmm. They just keep talking about, you know, and the comedy elements, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, there's not any more than a good horror movie has.
Yeah.
In that little podcast he did on Nerdist, he talked about, you know, the flow of Scream, and how, you know, and Scream's the same way. There are definitely comedic elements to it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's tons.
Look at, you know, David Arquette and what's his name?
Oh, freaking Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was the comedic relief in that movie.
But I don't know anybody that says that Scream is a horror comedy. You know, it's just part of
it's a satire.
Yes.
Which you could say that Get Out could be satirical. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But I think what people will look at when they're talking about that is when you get a movie like this that is based off like racial stuff. You're going to have the token sidekick black guy. People are going to be like, oh, well, yeah, he's got to be funny, right? Which, yes, he was. But like you and I talked about like 30 minutes ago, was that he wasn't, like, these were conversations that you feel like people would have regardless of color or anything, you know what I mean? Like,
well, and that's it. And even
like that scene when he's bitching to him about Jeffrey Dahmer, and stuff. I'm like, that's a conversation I would have with my friend if they were going to a place that I wasn't comfortable with. I'd be like, dude, don't go. You ever heard of Jeffrey Dahmer? Like, he eats people, and
exactly.
It's like, it just felt very natural.
Well, and even the conversations between him and her, like when they're in the bedroom and stuff like that. I mean, there's wisecracking going on, and they're being sarcastic and stuff like that. I mean, everybody felt like that's the normal conversations you have with your partner, you know, and things like that. So it seems very real.
Yeah, and of course, when you get a movie that's obviously as racially charged as Get Out is, you're going to have people whining about it. And of course, there's been already controversy, I think. And I don't think it's been bad. I've just seen people tweeting about it that, of course, you know, a couple white folk are up in arms about it, you know, saying it's racist, it's anti-white. And it's like, I don't think it is. I mean, it's
that same thing when people go base everything off of trailers. I mean, I think you talked about it with Split. You know, everybody went, so, you know, it's not dealing with mental illness, right? And it's like, well, did you just watch the trailers? And is that why you think that? Because if you watch the movie and you get the story, you know what it's about and how it builds. And it's the same thing here. I mean, I don't think it's I don't think there's any anti-white part about it as much as it's just like...
Like an anti-racist white people. That's what it is.
It's just this whole... It's all part of the story, that he's telling.
And, like, I already forgot what I was going to say. I had something good in my head and I forgot it. It was something real good, though. But, anyways, so, yeah, that became a huge ordeal, and people were upset about it, and I don't think it's, like, I don't know, I just don't think it's as big... Like, I understand, like, yes, like I said, it's a racially charged movie, and that's great, and I think it says a lot of stuff that needs to be said. And it's it's taken to a little bit of an extreme as far as...
Well, as it should be, it's art.
It's a fucking movie, so of course it's gotta be crazy.
Yeah.
But it does delve into the whole aspect of white people going around black people and trying to, like... be like, oh, hey, man, like, oh, you're black, well, oh, I love Obama, or, oh, I love Tiger Woods, I love this, man, I love this hip-hop song, and you're like, oh, my fucking God, like,
yes.
How cringy is that? Because we all know those people.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
We've all been around those people. I don't know if we've all been those people at one point in our life with that. We all got some internalized racism, which fucking sucks, so we all just got to get out of it, though. But... they put all of that in the movie, and it's great.
Yes.
Because you're just like, good, he's calling that shit out, and if you're offended by it, that means you're fucking guilty of it.
Yes.
And that's awesome. Like, you need to get that privilege and that guilt, and you need to fucking get that shit out of your life, and that's what I loved about it. And of course, it was taken to the extreme with, they're all just... Now they're fucking implanting crazy shit in people's brains and, doing wild shit. Spoilers, again. But yeah, so Peele was, I guess he had said, I don't know where at one point, but that he had said that, so it's this, the reason he wanted to delve into this horror thing was because he felt like comedy and, like, his comedy and horror, like, shared similarities in terms of pacing and stuff like that, which is true, because with comedy you've got to pace things right, so you want to hit that punchline, and you want everything to go perfectly. And the same with horror, you don't want people to guess your shit right off the bat, and then it's not any fun anymore after that.
It's like shoot, Sam Raimi and Evil Dead. Sam was a comedy guy, and wanted to make comedy movies, but they would only give him money. They saw how cheap they could make horror movies back then, and so they were like, okay, we'll give you money to make a horror movie. So they made Evil Dead.
Well, and he also said that Stepford Wives was like an inspiration, which you can obviously see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very, very blatant in turning these black people into kind of almost robots, to serve these people and stuff, which was
the original Stepford Wives, not that really terrible.
With Nicole Kidman
and Matthew Broderick.
Is that what it was? I've never seen it.
Oh, it's bad because it's a kind of a comedy.
I just remember from the original, what was it, the scene with the stabbing in the stomach, I guess, that crazy ass scene. Yeah. Yeah, so you could definitely see that in there. And it's funny because I think he said that he wanted to avoid... And with the music, I had written down in my notes, because the music was great. It was done by Michael Abels, I think. But that he wanted to avoid, like, a voodoo motif.
Yes.
And I think this is on Wikipedia, so I don't know how true that is. But he wanted to avoid the voodoo kind of aspect, because it did have some, like, everybody knows with voodoo, you go back to those, that black culture, African-American culture, whatever, of voodoo and all that stuff, and turning them into slaves and mindless zombies and all this stuff, and it wasn't, and that's almost what you kind of thought when you went into the movie, is you almost were like, fuck, is there gonna be like a zombie movie, or and it's like, no, it's so much more than that.
Oh, it's
like
deep.
it's deep. It's not just like, oh, we're just gonna mess with their minds a little bit. It's like, no, it's something fucking intense, and it's good. Like, I can't stop thinking about the movie.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I have so much, like, feel like I'm not doing this video justice, because I have so much shit that I want to say that I feel like I just can't put into words.
Well, I think, one thing I thought about and made notes on was just that, especially for being Jordan Peele's first directorial movie, it's like the whole thing has... He was able to draw this whole entire movie of uneasiness. Like, it's just dread building, and it kind of reminded me of The Invitation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where that entire movie, which I love that movie, and it's like the entire movie, you're questioning if he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because, you know, in The Invitation, he's thinking, okay, this is a cult, this is a weird thing, but maybe it's all in his mind. And then with this, it's like, you know something's wrong, but you don't know what it could possibly be.
Yeah.
And, you know, even with the hypnotizing, like, is it really working? Is it really, you know, he's freaked out over, he was hypnotized, but was he? And was he gone for a while? And was he?
And it's cool with the hypnotizing scenes because you didn't realize that was just a first step.
Yes.
You're like, oh shit, did she hypnotized, and is that it? He's gone? Is he
Yeah.
gone? Oh no, there's more to it. There's steps to this.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the first step.
That's just part of it. Yeah.
And those scenes were great. The hypnosis scenes were fantastic. Like, watching him like floating in that sunken place was just like, holy shit, I'm freaked out. And the movie, like you said, like, is just full on tension and dread and dread for the majority of the movie until you hit that point, that kind of climax with I want to say that it wasn't really with that one character. What was his name? Andrew or Andre or whichever. That one guy that he took the picture of.
Yeah.
That's when he was like, we're out. Fuck this shit. You know. But once you hit those points afterwards of him going, okay, we need to get the fuck out of here. We got to get out. Like, I have not had my heart pounding in a movie in a long time. Like, sure, I had it in Green Room, what was it, last year, but this was different. Like, my heart was like, I could feel it. It was beating hard because I was so scared. Like, I wanted to know what was, not because oh my god, scary, oh, who's gonna pop out. Like, I was like, oh my god, please get out. Please get out. Like, get the hell out of there. How are you going to get out? Or are you going to be able to get out? Like,
yes.
I need you to survive this movie. I need you to escape and to be safe. Like, I don't want these people to win.
Yes.
You know? And I was so, so anxious up until the freaking final scene.
Yeah.
Like, it was intense. And the final scene, you're like, oh no, this is going to turn out horribly. It's going to end bad, and I'm going to be mad because this ending isn't what I wanted it to be, and then it was what I wanted it to be.
Yes.
And you're like, oh my god, okay, like, good. Like, all that stress you feel was worth it.
And even what he, you know, and the reason you feel that stress without even giving anything away, the reason you feel that stress is because of something that was in the first 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
That you don't even think about through the rest of the movie, but when that scene comes up, you flash back to the very end when the car pulls up. You subconsciously think back
Which scene
to that.
in the first movie? Or in the first part?
First 15, when he's pulled over. When they're pulled over. That's the whole reason why you dread the ending, is because of what happens in the first 15 minutes. Yeah. And you don't even think about it, but when that scene happens, your subconscious is thinking, oh man, we already...
Oh no, I legit thought it was going to be a Night of the Living Dead ending. That's spoilers, but of course we told you. We're doing spoilers. I thought it was going to be a Night of the Living Dead ending.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great because you can see that he used that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Going, we're going to have a Night of the Living Dead ending.
The
guy ain't going to escape. Guy ain't going to make it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And then you're like, like, and I still won't give it away what the scene was, but it was such a perfect scene because I'd completely forgotten about this.
Which is
that you're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this whole side of this, you know? Which is great when a movie can make you do that. When they're showing this thing happening the whole time alongside this other story that you're like, wow, you made me completely forget about this. So it was still a surprise, you know?
Yeah,
and I'm
definitely.
like, that was good. I mean, this movie is just amazing. And, like, I can't, like...
I feel like, you know, something else I said in my notes was I feel like this is a movie that it basically hit all five senses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though, you know, you're in a movie theater and there's no smell, you swear the way it's done, you could smell everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And he does such a great job. He tells the story visually fantastically, but visually to the sense of like that actor, the main actor, his eyes are the entire movie, and they focus on his eyes always. Like,
yeah, and of course y'all have seen all the screenshots. The main screenshots are showing that shot of him crying, and his eyes are, I mean, huge and crying, and it's like his eyes tell everything. In that whole movie, they always seem to focus on his eyes.
And like even I said sense of touch, because the way they bring up his hands and the way he's feeling
scratching
stuff.
Those, and again, you guys, if you're watching this, you've seen it, so you know what we're talking about. But the scenes when he's scratching the chairs, you feel it.
Yeah.
Especially if when you're in the movie theater, you hear it, so you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel that ugly scratching sound. You know.
And it's like all that stuff. I was like, wow, this is really hitting, because most movies are visual and, you know, you're hearing everything, but this one you get those other senses.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You get your sense of smell. You get your sense of, you know, like when you're outside and the one hand is chopping wood and stuff like that. It's like you swear you could be in that field with him and smell the wood being chopped and the grass, you know, all around him and stuff like that. I mean, I felt that, you know.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, and being in the theater watching it, like, I feel like you have to just watch. You can't, don't stream it, don't torrent it, don't wait till it comes out, whatever.
Go
like,
see it in theaters, like, so you
will get an experience that, especially if you're in a packed theater. Because I'm normally not the person that's like screaming and like, you know, and clapping and like being, you know, vocal about it. But this movie, like, I couldn't help it. Like, you wanted to clap in the scenes that you were, like, excited about. And you wanted to, like, laugh really hard in the funny scenes.
Yeah.
And you wanted to, like, oh, God, no! Like, you wanted to be that person that's, like, because everybody else was doing it, too.
Yeah.
And that's when you know it's a fun movie. When everybody else has the same kind of response out of it, you know? I know that... What did I put on here? That crazy freaking Variety article.
Oh, yeah.
That I reshared on my Twitter. I don't know if any of you guys follow me on my Twitter. If you don't, it's the Stacey Beth. But this Variety article had tweeted, like, I guess it was like one of the film critics, if not like, I think like the senior film critic of the website, had made an article about it, and I don't know if it was like a review or whatever, but he was like, oh, you know, Get Out dares to be a real movie. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. What do you mean dares to be a real movie? Like, I did not realize that this whole time, you know, horror has been fake. Like, have you been watching fake horror movies?
Like they wanted to put this assumption that horror movies can't say anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that.
And what sucks is that even though this person was praising it, they were still saying it dares to be a real movie. Like, well, it is a real movie. But it had a purpose. It had a message. There was social commentary in it. And just because it's horror doesn't demean it in any way and doesn't make it any less of a movie. And it's funny because of coming off of last night's Oscars and stuff, that it's unfortunate that this movie, being as highly praised as it is by critics, it's never going to end up in these awards shows, like, ever.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate, because there are a lot of movies that have come out in 2016 that should have all gotten awards. Yeah. And it's never going to happen. So it's really shitty that you get movies like this that have such fucking praise from people all over the board that are never going to end up getting, like, these Oscar nods, and they're not going to get, you know, Grammys for the music, and they're not going to get this, and they're not going to get that, and it's like, well, that fucking sucks. Like,
well, and, you know, I wanted to say this on here, you know, those who don't know me, you know, I produce albums, and I work in the independent music side, I work with record labels and stuff, and horror movies are like what to big studios or what record labels do. Like, everybody knows who Rihanna and Beyonce is and stuff like that, but they are able to spend a bunch of money on those big artists because a record label has sub-labels that all have independent artists. And those independent artists are the ones that tour and sell. And they'll take that money and feed it into the big acts so they can push the big acts. And that's what horror movies are.
Yeah.
All these big movie companies know they can make a quick buck off horror movies, and so it's horror movies are what keep, and those comedies are what keep big movies coming out.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that fund it. Because if you can spend $4.5 million making and promoting a movie, and then the first week make $35 million, well, guess what? You know, then that's going to allow Jordan to make another movie, but for another $4.5 million, or maybe they might give him up to $10 million.
Yeah.
But they know that, okay, we've got a ton of money again, and we can now go ahead and, you know, that'll help feed a big blockbuster.
But it's like with Split. I mean, M. Night had what, 9-10 million. He ended up making what, 100 million. Like, that's fucking fantastic. Like, fuck anybody that says horror is dead and that says that horror movies aren't. There's no good horror movies anymore. It's like, well, you're just not looking in the right place, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're looking for straight horror, looking for your Saws and your Halloweens and whatever, which, by the way, that new one's probably going to be great. But if you're looking for something like that, like studio horror, you ain't going to get it.
Yeah.
You need to look for stuff like this. Or, not even, well, no, Get Out's not even, small time. That's fucking big. But all these other independent horror movies that let these movies be what they are.
Yeah.
You know? It's funny, I saw that, I don't know where I saw, but somebody was like, I don't think that a white person could have made this movie. Of course not.
No.
Like, of course not. I mean, they could have tried.
But it
would have probably been terrible.
No, because you need that perspective. It's just like any sort of art. I mean, it's like, really and truthfully, only that artist can make that movie. Because you're seeing what he put together, what was in his mind.
And it being a racially motivated movie, a white person couldn't have done this because they don't know.
Yeah.
And this is all, I don't know, because I am not a person of color. I'm not a black person. I'm Mexican, but I'm not a black person. I don't understand those trials and tribulations, so I'm not ever going to comment on it and say that I know what it is.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think that a white person could have fucking done this and done it any justice whatsoever.
No.
Like, because there would have been those, like, oh, maybe we can't go too far. Maybe we can't say this. Maybe we can't do that. And Jordan Peele was like, fuck that shit. I'm going to do it all.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it right. So, So I'm like, fuck anybody that gets offended by it. You're a dumbass if you do. Like.
Now I'd be curious to see what happens with this next movie, because now the studios are going to want to be all involved. It's kind of like the success of the first season of Walking Dead. Then we got the second season where we were all on the farm because they cut their budget because it was so successful. They wanted to make more money.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, what's going to happen? And then the studio had more to say, and that's when what's his name left, and the guy that started.
I don't know, but Get Out is an absolutely fantastic movie. I absolutely think that everybody needs to go see it. I think everybody will get a little bit of something out of it.
Yeah.
If not just come out of it fucking scared.
Definitely.
I don't know. I feel like I should have watched it like a couple more times before we even made this video.
Well, I think it's perfect to do it like this because we didn't spoil too much, and even if anybody just
I thought I would have spoiled the whole damn thing, but I feel like I can't because there's so much that goes on in the movie that I feel like if I talked about it all, we're already at almost 34 minutes, and I feel like if I had talked about everything, this would have gone on for like an hour because I could continue to talk about this movie. I am finding myself texting everybody about it. I'm like, have you seen it? Okay, let's talk about it. Like, let's keep talking about it. I don't want to stop talking about this movie. It's that good. And when you have a movie that does that, that's fantastic. I haven't had a movie that's done that since Green Room. Yeah,
Green Room was the last one where we constantly talked about it.
I've seen Green Room 4 or 5 times now.
I think I've seen it 3.
And I can't stop talking about it. It's still amazing. But like we said, Green Room has that same sense of, what were we talking about with Invitation? But with Green Room has that same sense of dread and tension and terror, but in a different aspect, because Green Room was violent, and this was not. It was very subtle.
Yeah, everything was subtle.
But it was all, it was scary. And when everything pops off, it's fucking scary. And there is some blood,
Yeah.
and it does get violent, but you want it to get violent.
Yeah.
Like, you want the people that are being the victims to be the victims, you know, and...
I mean, and honestly, I think back, you know, besides Green Room, I don't necessarily know if I had a horror movie that really got me like these two movies, Green Room and Get Out, since Devil's Rejects.
Really?
That was the last time that I had a movie that I constantly thought about. I thought about why I felt the way I did. You know, and you know my love for that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you can make the most horrible characters in the world and you're feeling for them by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You're just like, I mean, I still think that's a genius movie.
It's great because Get Out, you did not feel a goddamn piece of sympathy for any of those characters
I know.
except for Rod and Chris, and that was it.
Yep.
And Rod was the greatest one. God damn it. Like, I think we all found a little bit of Rod in us.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we all have a little piece of Rod in us at somewhere hidden down in there. But, yeah. Anyway, so go see the movie. It's amazing.
See it again.
It's probably going to be and if you've watched it, it's obviously not very spoiled for you. It kind of is, but whatever. But if you wanted to keep watching this, fine, go watch it. If you have, go watch it again, like 5 more times. And then talk to us about it.
Yes.
So, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Talk to y'all
guys.
later.
Bye.
Bye.